Hi everyone. Very good evening. How are you doing? I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to this session on CSAT PYQs. आज फिर से हम लोग कर रहे हैं ढेर सारे PYQs. आज करेंगे 2023 के CSAT के PYQs. Last time we were doing PYQs from 2022. I hope you have seen that session. If you haven't, then please make sure that you view that session. And if there are any doubts or any questions that you think there is a problem in, do connect with me. Do drop in a message in the chat box. We keep looking at the chat box, so that will be helpful, right? So do make sure you're doing all of this, guys. And yeah. Also, okay, before we begin, let me do a quick sound check and audio check. So if you could tell me if I am audible or visible, and visible, my bad, not or visible. Am I audible? Am I visible? And can you see me? Also, if you can make sure that you have liked the session. If you haven't yet liked the session, please like it. Also, please share the session with your friends and in your Telegram groups and all, so that everyone can join in and also they can take advantage of this session. Also, do make sure that you have subscribed to our channel. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, then you'll not be able to participate in the chat, because the chat is a subscribers only chat. तो जरूर से मेक श्योर करो कि लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब सब कुछ कर लो, ताकि हम लोग ये सेशन मजे से कर सकें. गाइस, CSAT PYQs, आई जस्ट लव दिस. Very exciting. Let's get started. Time waste नहीं करेंगे. We'll get into the thick of things and do our PYQs. Okay. चलो, पहला क्वेश्चन इधर है. So here's your first passage. Let's read it. I'm going to give you a minute to read it and then I'll discuss it with you. और फिर शुरू करेंगे आगे का. Right, let's get started, guys. 2 मिनट हो चुके हैं, सो शुरू कर देते हैं अभी डिस्कशन अपना. तो फटाफट से. We often hear about conflicts among different states in India over river waters. तो अक्सर हमें सुनाई पड़ रहा है कि there are conflicts between different states over river water. So some state is saying this is our water, some state is saying this is all our. Of the 20 major river systems, 14 are already water stressed. उनके पास पानी कम है. 75% of the population lives in these water stressed region. A third of whom live in water scarce area. पानी नहीं है. Climate change, the demands of rising population and the need of agriculture to keep pace, and increased rate of urbanization and industrialization will exacerbate water stress. Exacerbate means to worsen और बुरा कर देना. तो water stress और बढ़ेगा इन सारी चीजों से. According to the Constitution of India, water is a state subject. So all states will, have to handle that, not that of the union, except for regulation of interstate rivers. So the key to ensuring balance between competing demands of various stakeholders is a basin-based approach to allocate water amongst the constituent regions and states. तो एक बेसिन है, फलाना रिवर का बेसिन है, उससे अकॉर्डिंगली अप्रोच करेंगे. Allocating fair share of water to them requires assessment based on objective criteria such as specificities of the river basin, size of the dependent population, existing water use and demand, efficiency of use, projected future use, while ensuring the environmental needs of the rivers and the aquifers. So बहुत balancing act है इस केस में. All right, let's take a look at our question. Which one of the following best reflects the most rational, practical and immediate action? कौन सी चीज immediately करनी चाहिए? To ensure fair and equitable allocation of water to different stakeholders. A national, pragmatic, legal and policy framework for water allocation should be made. A national plan banao, which is practical, legal, takes care of everything. This can be a good choice. All river systems should be linked and huge aquifers created. How can you create aquifer? Aquifer is a water-bearing rock. You cannot create it. This is factually incorrect. So B is not possible. Water channels between regions of water surplus and regions of water deficit should be created. Now, You could create it, but is that the most immediate action that we can do? That will take a lot of time, right? So no, see, also doesn't work. To mitigate the water crisis, water demands of sectors such as agriculture and industry should be reduced. How do you reduce the amount of water that a farm will take? You cannot. Again, industry needs water, so how are you going to reduce that? So D will not work. So of all of these, A will be our best choice answer, guys, and that is your answer. Okay, I hope सबको समझ में आ गया है. Let's look at the next question. Here's your second passage again. I'm going to give you a minute to read the passage. पढ़ लो, फिर उसके बाद साथ में डिस्कस करेंगे. I'm going to put myself on mute. 1 minute starts now. All right, let's read this. So more than half of Indian women and almost a quarter of Indian men of working age suffer from anemia. तो anemia 50% women को है और 25% men को है. According to studies, they're anywhere from 5 to 15% less productive than they could be as a result of this anemia. India also has the largest tuberculosis burden in the world, costing 170 million work days to the country annually. But so yet tuberculosis and anemia is causing such a lot of loss. But what is just as important as lost productivity is lost potential in the future. So future में काम करने की ability भी कम हो रही है. It is becoming increasingly clear that on many measures of cognitive ability, learning, malnourished Indian children perform 2 or 3 times worse than their adequately nourished peers. So malnourishment is such a big problem. You will not be able to perform well in knowledge, learning, and so on. For an economy that will be more dependent on highly skilled workers, this poses a significant challenge, and it is one that really should be addressed given India's demographic outlook. So you need to take care of this, because look at the population that we have. More than 50% of the population is young. So if that segment of the society is suffering from malnourishment and their cognitive ability is reduced, वो अच्छे से काम नहीं कर पाते, दिमागी काम नहीं कर पाते, तो प्रॉब्लम है ना. All right, let's look at the question. Question number 2. Which of these statement best reflects what is implied by the passage? तो ऐसा क्या है जो passage कह रहा है और कौन से option में आ रहा है? Education system must be strengthened in rural areas. But why only rural areas? We need to strengthen it in urban areas also. So eliminate. Large scale and effective implementation of skill development program is the need of the hour. We need to do skill development, but first and foremost, we need to make sure that everyone is nourished. There is no malnourishment happening. So B, no. For economic development, health and nutrition, special attention. Look at the only. Now, this is an extreme word and therefore it doesn't work. For rapid economic growth, as envisaged by us, attention should be paid to health and nutrition of the people, generally of all the people, and that is what the author is saying. If half Indian women are malnourished, are suffering from anemia, quarter of the men are suffering from anemia, so many of them have tuberculosis, they're unwell. How are they going to work? So their health and nutrition needs to be taken care of. So therefore, best answer D. All right, let's look at the third question. Guys, take a minute and read this and we'll solve this question in just a minute. All right, let's take a look at this question. It says, in India, a majority of farmers are marginal and small. So वो छोटे छोटे farms हैं, they're less educated and they possess low adaptive capabilities to climate change. उनके लिए दिक्कत है. Perhaps because of credit and other constraints. So they have a lot of constraints. So one cannot expect autonomous adaptation to climate change. That वो अपने आप से change कर लेंगे, अपने आप को adapt कर लेंगे climate change को, ऐसा नहीं होगा. Now अगर possible होता भी, if it were possible, it would not be sufficient to offset losses from climate change. So you would not be able to offset those losses that are happening. To deal with this, adaptation to climate change is paramount alongside a fast mitigation response. So दो चीजों की जरूरत है. One, adaptation to climate change. Two, a fast response is also required. Another solution is to have a planned or policy driven adaptation, which would require the government to come up with policy recommendations. So government को policy recommendation करने पड़ेंगे. Perception is a necessary prerequisite for adaptation. Whether farmers are adapting agricultural practices to climate change depends on whether they perceive it or not. So perception की जरूरत है, उन्हें समझ में आएगा तभी वो करेंगे कुछ. However, this is not always enough for adaptation. It's important how a farmer perceives the risk associated with climate change. So you have to understand not just the perception, but how they perceive the risk is also important, right? Let's take a look at the question here. Question number 3 for passage number 3 says, which of the following best reflects the most logical and rational message conveyed by the author of the passage? So what is it that the author is saying? Let's take a look at the options. Option number 1 says, adaptation to climate change and mitigation response are basically the responsibility of government. Why are they basically the responsibility of the government? We don't know. Anyone can say anything. No. Look at B. Climate change causes a change in government policies regarding land use patterns but climate change causes it. That is so extreme. And is there really this causal statement given? No. Risk perception of farmers are important for motivating them for taking adaptation decision. Yes, the farmer has to perceive a risk, then only they will take that decision, right? So therefore, C is what this passage was talking about. Since mitigation is not possible, government should come up with the policies for quick response to again. Mitigation is not possible is not really mentioned in the passage. That's incorrect. So not D. So of these, the best answer will be option number C. And that's your correct answer. Let's look at the fourth passage. Again, I'm giving you a minute to read this and then we will discuss. Okay, let's take a look at the passage now. So in India, while the unemployment rate is a frequently used measure of poor performance of the economy, under conditions of rising school and college enrollment, it paints an inaccurate picture. So Indians use unemployment rate as a measure of poor performance of the economy, but it's not a clear picture. The reported unemployment rate is dominated by the experience of younger Indians who face higher employment challenges and exhibit greater willingness to wait for the right job than their older peers. The unemployment challenge is greater for people with secondary or higher education. So those who have higher education, and because rising education levels inflate unemployment challenges. So more education, the more challenging unemployment becomes. Okay, let's take a look at the question and the options. Here we are. So what reflects as to what the author of the passage wants to say? Enrollment in schools and colleges is high, but there is no quality education. We don't know. The passage did not say anything like that. So let's eliminate A. Whether there is quality education or not was not mentioned. Unemployment must be seen as a function of rising education and aspirations of the young Indian. Well, yes, because they are aspiring for better jobs and all of that. So I'll put a star on this. There are no labor intensive industries to accommodate the huge number of unemployed people. That doesn't really reflect what the author wants to say. The education system should be properly designed so as to enable the educated people to be self-employed. Well, what the education system should be properly designed as is not, again, something that the author is intending to say. So best answer here will be option number B. That's your correct answer. Let's look at the next question. Here's your passage again. Take a minute, read, and then we will discuss. पढ़ लो, फिर उसके बाद फटाफट डिस्कस करें. Let's take a look at this passage. It's a very nice passage. I was just unmute. I didn't unmute myself and I was speaking. Anyway, now I'm here. So science by itself is not enough. So science अकेले enough नहीं है. Okay. There must be a force and discipline outside science to coordinate them and point to a goal. So something has to be there which will point science in a direction. It's not possible to run a course or a right when the goal itself has not been rightly placed. So you have to have a goal, only then you can do something. What science needs is philosophy, the analysis of scientific method and the coordination of scientific purposes and results. So science needs philosophy. Without this, any science must be superficial, useless. Hai. Governments suffer for lack of philosophy also. So government also, if they don't have philosophy, they will suffer. Philosophy bears to science the same relationship which statesmanship bears to politics. So philosophy guides science. Similarly, statesmanship guides politics. Movement guided by total knowledge and perspective as against aimless and individual seeking. Just as the pursuit of knowledge becomes scholasticism when divorced from the actual needs of men and life, so the pursuit of politics becomes a destructive bedlam when divorced from science and philosophy. So that's your passage. Very lovely one. Let's take a look at the question. The question options are here. It says, what is the most rational, logical, and practical message conveyed by the passage? Modern statesmen need to be well trained in scientific methods and philosophical thinking to enable them to have a better perspective of their roles, responsibilities, and goals. The author did not try to say that the statesmen needed to be well trained in scientific methods, so eliminate A. It is not desirable to have governments managed by empirical statements. What is empirical statesman? That is something that is very weird, so not B. As a statesman, bureaucrats are products of a society. It is desirable to have a system of education that focuses on training its citizen in scientific method and philosophical thinking from a very early. Why are we even talking about all of this? So irrelevant. Look at D. It is desirable that all scientists need to be philosopher as well as make their work goal oriented and thus purposeful and useful to the society. And that is what the passage was saying, that all scientists have to be philosophers. They have to guide, they have to be guided. There has to be a goal for, that they're trying to achieve. So that's your answer, option number D. Here's the next passage, guys. Take a minute, read, and we'll discuss it. Again, 1 minute. All right, let's take a look. It says the last end of the state is not to dominate men. End means goal, not to restrain them by fear. That's not the goal of the state. Rather, it is so to free each man from fear that he may live and act with full security and without injury to himself or his neighbor. So it is to give freedom. The end of the state, I repeat, is to not make rational beings into brute beasts and machines. That's not the purpose of the state. It is to enable their minds and bodies to function safely, safe functioning. It is to lead men to live by and to exercise free reason, not bound by anything, that they may not waste their strength in hatred, anger, guile, nor act unfairly towards one another. All right, let's look at this question. So, based on the above passage, what is the ultimate goal of the state? Personal safety? It's not really safe, personal safety per se. Health of body and mind? Yes. Communal harmony? Uh, no. Liberty? No. So we are looking at healthy body and mind, and that will help us, that expresses the ultimate goal of the state. Okay. All right. Let's look at the next one. Here's your next one. Again, take a minute, read it, and then we will discuss it. 1 minute. All right. चलो start करते हैं. Let's take a look at this passage. So it says the paradox of choice, which is illustrated by the story of Buridan's ass. Jean Buridan, the 14th century philosopher, wrote about free will and the inability to choose due to numerous choices and uncertainty. In the story, a donkey stands between two equally appealing stacks of hay. Unable to decide which to eat, it starves to death because it has two wonderful choices it cannot decide. Changes in technology and innovation, such as smartphones and tablets, only exacerbate our glut of choices. So we have too many choices, leaves us with choice paralysis. Constant connectivity and overconsumption of real-time data and social media can leave little room for self-reflection and rest. So there isn't much time to reflect, to rest, making decisions more difficult. Life is about choices. Many people are overwhelmed with attractive life choices, yet find themselves unhappy and anxious. So people are unhappy. All right, let's take a look at the question. So, what is the logical message that is implied by this passage? Most logical message, right? Modern technology enfeebles societal structure and makes life difficult. It doesn't enfeeble the societal structure, please mind you. It stops you from taking good decisions, but doesn't enfeeble anything. Modern life is full of uncertainties and endless difficult choices. It is full of uncertainties, was not mentioned in the passage. So, not B. We are influenced by the opinion of others and have no courage to follow our own convictions. Have no courage is too extreme and therefore not right. Look at D, in our lives, having too few choices may not be a good thing, but having too many can be equally as difficult. And that's correct, guys. Absolutely. That having very little choices is bad, but having a lot of choices is also bad. That's the problem of the paradox of choice. Okay. All right. Let's go to the last set for today. Again, I'll give you a minute to read and we will try and solve this one together. फिर से 1 मिनट दे रही हूँ, लगाओ, पढ़ो और फिर डिस्कस करेंगे. All right, let's take a look at this passage. So, household finance in India, excuse me, is unique. तो ये एक एकदम अनयूजुअल चीज है. वी हैव अ टेंडेंसी टू इन्वेस्ट हेविली इन फिजिकल एसेट्स सच एज गोल्ड एंड प्रॉपर्टी. तो हम लोग इन्वेस्ट करते हैं गोल्ड में, प्रॉपर्टी में. Steps to encourage the financialization of savings are critical. So we need to financialize savings. A population that is accustomed to traditional processes will not simply jump into financialization. लोग नहीं करेंगे पैसे invest. Hurdles to change include onerous bureaucracy. So there is a very heavy bureaucracy. There is a skepticism of financial institutions. लोगों को विश्वास नहीं है. A lack of basic information about which of these services and providers is best for each family, and how even if you can make the transition between them. So can you switch from gold and property into these financial institutions and so on. So that was what your passage was about, guys. So chalo, let's take a look at the questions and see what the correct answer is. So regarding the financialization of household savings, which of the following best reflects the solutions that are implied by the passage? A flexible environment is needed to develop solutions. Yes. How do you make the transition? So one, household need customized solutions. Yes, everybody has a different one. So yes. Innovations in financial technology. Why financial technology? So not three. That was not implied by the passage. So 1 and 2 only. So therefore your answer is going to be A, 1 and 2 only. Okay. All right, so those are your answers, guys. You can check these up. I think I've given you the right answers. Anyway, if you have any questions or anything that you wish to ask me, like I said, ask me now, or you can drop it in the chat box. We'll get back to you with these questions. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a nice day. I will see you next week, same time, same place, with one more set of PYQs. Thank you so much. I hope you have already subscribed to the channel and that you have liked and shared our videos also. Do make sure you like it. I love the likes. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day. Bye bye. फिर मिलेंगे अगले हफ्ते.